So The Gray Man was directed by the Russo brothers, who have directed some films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, such as Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and this film follows Agent 6 as he attempts to rescue the kidnapped daughter of an old friend. And the first thing that I will say about this film is that I thought it was fine. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It was fine. And my main problem with this film is that I found it extremely generic. The plot is very generic. This is another action film about an agent who has to go rescue a kidnapped child. The protagonist is extremely generic. This is another action film with a mysterious, highly skilled action hero who was abused by his father in his childhood and is now an unstoppable killing machine. And the villain is also extremely generic. This is another action film with a villain that is a corrupt person with a lot of power who will do anything in his power to keep his secrets hidden. So yeah, this was a very generic and unoriginal film. The story is generic, the characters are generic, the plot is generic, the dialogue is generic, the villain is generic. That said, it was fine. It was enjoyable enough. Now, the second thing that I will mention about this film is that this movie is based on a book by Mark Greene, and I will just come out and say it. I haven't read the book, I've never read the book, I never even heard of the book before this film was announced. And, maybe that's the reason why I think it is fine. Maybe if you've read the book and you're a big fan of The Gray Man and of Mark Greene's work, maybe you'll be like, oh no, this was a terrible adaptation and this was absolute rubbish. That said, I haven't read the book, I have no point of comparison, so for me, in my mind, I thought the film was fine. I thought it was enjoyable enough. I will now move on to talking about the things that I really did like about this film, because there are some things that I genuinely enjoyed and that I thought were a lot of fun. And the first thing that I would like to point out as something that I really enjoyed was Ryan Gosling's performance. I think Ryan Gosling is a very talented actor. I think he's really freaking great. And he usually plays this very stoic and unexpressive characters. And in this film, he is playing another very stoic, mysterious, and unexpressive character. So I think Ryan Gosling's stoic performance really does work. And yeah, I thought his performance was great. He did the best with what he was given, and he has some great action scenes which he kicks out of the park. Now, the second thing that I really enjoyed about this film was Ana de Armas' performance. And Ana de Armas, holy shit, what a great actress. And honestly, this film, The Gray Man, is yet another movie where Ana de Armas demonstrates that she can handle action cinema, and that she is more than ready to be the lead in an action movie. Last year, in 2021, we had No Time to Die, where she really proved herself as Paloma. This year, she proved herself once again with The Gray Man. And yeah, I can't wait to see what she does as the lead in the John Wick ballerina spin-off that they already announced, which apparently Ana de Armas will be leading as the main actress. So yeah, I love Ana de Armas, great performance, and yeah, I thought she did the best with what she was given. Now, the third thing that I really enjoyed was Chris Evans' performance. And Chris Evans, holy shit. For me, he by far stole the show. I thought he was the best actor in the film. I thought he gave the best performance. I thought he was having the most fun throughout the film. And yeah, I could really feel it. His character, Lloyd, was a ton of fun. Even though his lines were very generic, his delivery had so much charisma and so much personality that yeah, it was just magnetic. Like, I really liked what he did with this character. And once again, very generic lines, very generic character, but he killed it. He gave it his all, and it really worked. Another thing that I have to mention about Chris Evans' performance is that he had some great action scenes. And honestly, that comes to no surprise, because he already proved himself that he can handle action scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where he played Captain America. And it is really great to see the Russo brothers directing Chris Evans once again. Now, the last thing that I have to mention when it comes to things that I really enjoyed from this film are the action scenes, because the action scenes in The Gray Man are genuinely great. The set pieces were very inventive, and there is some very creative action throughout this whole film. There is one scene in particular that I would like to highlight where Ryan Gosling is fighting against a bunch of people on a tram, and he's on the roof and everyone else is on the bottom of the tram, and he's using the reflections in the buildings on the side of the street in order to be able to shoot the people through the roof. And it is really inventive, it is really creative, it is really cool, and it really freaking worked. And that comes to no surprise, because after all, this film was directed by the Russo brothers, and they have proven time and time again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that if there is one thing that they can direct, are action sequences. That being said, even though the action scenes in this film are really freaking great, for some reason they feel hollow, they feel empty, And I honestly believe that the reason why the action scenes in this film feel so hollow and feel so empty is because we're just not invested in the characters or in the story in order to, truly be invested in the action scenes, For an action scene to work, you need a great story and you need great characters behind it. Because only with a great story and only with great characters will audiences truly be invested in what is happening and in every punch of an action scene. But if you don't have great characters, if you don't have a great story, then action scenes just start feeling like empty spectacle. Like spectacle for spectacle's sake. There's no stakes, you don't feel the tension. And yeah, they start feeling empty and they start feeling hollow. And if I'm being honest, that was the case with The Gray Man. The action scenes were great. The choreography was amazing. They were very inventive. They were very creative. Every actor was giving it their all. That said, you're not invested in the characters. You're not invested in the story. So the action scenes just end up being hollow. So in conclusion, The Gray Man was very, very generic, but enjoyable. It was fine. And if I were to give it a score in between 1 to 10, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Which means I thought it was good. It was fine. It was enjoyable. But yeah, that's it for my review of The Gray Man.